It's November, 1939, just 3 months after the outbreak of another world war. The Soviet Union has declared war on my Finland. The -45-degree weather would be the least of the communist invaders' concerns when they found themselves in my sights, because I am Simo Häyhä, the deadliest sniper in history. I am the White Death. Prior to war's start, Germany and the Soviet Union had agreed to divide up Eastern Europe into spheres of influence, and Finland landing within the Soviets' reach. Stalin quickly made impossible demands of Finland, including that we cede large amounts of territory along the Finnish-Soviet border supposedly for security reasons, such as the protection of Leningrad, which lay only 32 kilometers from the border. My nation flatly refused, and the Soviet Union quickly declared war. With 750,000 soldiers, 6,000 tanks and over 3,000 aircraft, the Soviet military absolutely dwarfed our Finnish military, which was comprised of just 300,000 soldiers, mostly reservists and civil guardsmen, a few dozen tanks and 100 aircraft. Stalin ordered the invasion of Finland, giving no thought to the coming winter, as he assumed his armies would roll over us long before the worst weather set in. Just as Napoleon had underestimated the Russian winter over 100 years before, Stalin too severely underestimated winter weather and the impact it would have on his army. As the unseasonably cold winter of 1940 set in and slowed Stalin's beleaguered armies down in a frozen hell, our Finnish resistance moved in to halt the Soviet advance. Knowing we knew we couldn't match the Soviets on a one-on-one basis, we adopted MOTI, or what today would be called asymmetrical warfare tactics. We would routinely allow Soviet forces to push deep into our territory, leaving them overextended. Then we'd attack their supply lines while running lightning raids against the Soviet flank. Frozen in by the severe weather and plagued by terrible logistics, the Soviet war machine quickly ground to a halt. But the greatest of the terrors awaiting the Soviets in the winter woods was me, an unassuming, 1.5 meter, tall farmer named Simo Häyhä. I was born in a farming town near the Russian border, and I spent my entire life in the harsh Finnish countryside. As a child I naturally took to shooting, becoming a prolific hunter and sharpening the marksmanship skills that would make me a legend one day. In 1925, I served a mandatory one-year term in Finland's army, where I was introduced to an M28/30 rifle, replacing my Russian-made Mosin-Nagant M91. Honing my shooting skill even further, I was able to achieve a firing rate of 16 shots per minute at a range of 500 feet, every single one on target. After a year's service, I was honorably discharged with the rank of Upseeriopilas officer Selov, or corporal. Years later, I joined the Finnish Civil Guard, and at the outbreak of hostilities in 1939, I was called into active service. I refused the M28/30 rifle the military provided me with, though, pulling my trusty M91 out of storage instead. Immediately ordered to the defense of Pyhäjoki, me and my unit dug trenches and strung up barbed wire in preparation for the Soviet assault. That very same night, the Soviets attacked, but we were able to repel the assault. After several days of heavy fighting, we were ordered to withdraw, yet despite the retreat we suffered relatively few casualties. My next engagement with the Soviets came outside of Suvalahti, with the Soviets once more suffering heavy losses. Stalin's bloody political purges had decimated military leadership within the Soviet military, and the inexperienced and poorly led Soviet army suffered greatly in the first few weeks of the war for those purges. My extraordinary marksmanship did not go unnoticed by leadership, who soon made me a sniper. After an enemy sniper killed 3 platoon leaders and an NCO, my company commander, Lieutenant Juyutilainen, ordered me to knock that man out. I replied simply, "I'll do my best." I took off for the woods alone, dressed in thick winter gear and a body-length white hooded coat. Making note of the terrain, I identified a few possible positions that I would choose if I were a Russian sniper and then selected a spot with good oversight of all of them. Digging into the thick snow early morning, I lay perfectly still, letting the snow build up around me all day long. Not moving for fear of giving my position away, my patience and endurance paid off when finally, towards dusk, I spotted a flicker on the horizon, the telltale glint of the setting sun's rays reflecting off another sniper's scope. Moments later, the Russian sniper began to rise, likely returning back to his unit after a long day on alert. Without hesitation, I gently squeezed the trigger and placed a single 7.62 round straight through the enemy sniper's cheek, killing him instantly. My reputation began to spread amongst my fellow troops, and I would soon earn my nickname of the White Death amongst Russian troops. With our unit under fire by a skilled enemy sniper, my lieutenant once more reached out to me with a simple mission: find the sniper and kill him before he can kill more of our own. Just as before, I once again took off into the wilderness alone, carrying a day's worth of food and several pouches of ammunition. Having seen how a scope had given the Russian sniper away, I now refused to use one, and instead stuck only to my reliable M91's iron sights. It was with these iron sights that I spotted and eliminated the Russian sniper from 400 meters away. After that kill, my name spread amongst the Russians, and I became a priority one target. In the months that followed, Soviet forces responded to my attacks by calling in artillery bombardments, devastating dozens of acres of woodland to try to kill just one man. Yet for all their efforts, I was able to survive each bombardment, getting only a minor scratch when a shell landed near my position and tore the back of my greatcoat. In turn, I continued my methodical assassination of Soviet targets undeterred, once knocking out the sniper protecting a forward artillery observer. The observer quickly called in fire support and over 50 rounds rained down harmlessly around me. But skill with a gun is only one part of becoming a deadly sniper. I would often have to stay in my firing position for hours, sometimes even an entire day, and it's that resilience in the midst of our brutal Finnish winter that made me the stuff of legend. In order to not give away my firing position, I very slowly and carefully moistened the snow around me so it would freeze, preventing puffs of snow from flying up when I fired. When changing firing positions, I would move incredibly slowly, inches per hour, making my movements all but imperceptible to the human eye. In order to prevent steam from my breath from giving me away, I would hold mouthfuls of snow in my mouth, taking slow, deep breaths and letting my breath cool as it left my lungs. And of course, to never inadvertently give myself away due to the low winter sun, I never used a scope, sticking to my tried and true iron sights for even the longest and most difficult of shots. Though I usually worked alone, I did employ the use of a trusted spotter occasionally. Observing Russian movements during the day, we would then take off into the pitch-black night and hunt for a good firing position from where we could enjoy a target-rich environment. Once selected, we would have to sit patiently waiting for the first light of dawn, and then begin our long day of precision shooting. I was eventually wounded though. Shot by an enemy sniper with an explosive bullet to the left side of my face just 1 week before the end of the Winter War. I awoke in a surgical tent the day the war ended. The bullet left me with a fractured jaw and a lifelong deformity, but I quickly recovered the ability to speak and, more importantly, shoot. With over 500 confirmed kills by the end of the war, my legacy was cemented as the deadliest sniper in history. But ultimately I am a man of peace, and I refused to take part in the Finnish-Soviet continuation war, which saw my beloved Finnish forces ally with German forces and invade the Soviet Union in a bid to retake lost territory. For me, my war was done, and I had no interest in invading another man's land the way my own had been.